Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z,
And I'm Keith.
and we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we had humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show. So it turns out we accidentally watched this on the anniversary of its release.
Oh,
August 23rd, 1990.
That's crazy. That's funny. Wow. So 34 years ago. It's 34.
Is that all?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, because 24 plus 10.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Over 50 years ago.
What a movie. It was so fucking weird. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. It was so ridiculous from start to finish. There was nothing about it that wasn't absolutely ridiculous. Very funny. And how my favorite part is the science that went into it. Why doesn't the skin last longer than 99 minutes?
Well, that's what makes this a science fiction movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my argument for why it's okay to watch this month rather than the month we usually reserve for superhero.
Superheroes? Is that what you said?
Like superhero.
Like superheroes. Yeah. Can you calm down? It just there was the only thing that I was like I wish it had, because I feel like his makeup was like really good. I feel like except for the fucking teeth.
No, I love those.
They moved so much for it to look real enough to not be. I mean, it was comical for sure, but I'm like, oh man, if they had done a tiny bit better with those teeth, it would have been like really good. But oh my god.
No, I liked it because it.
Yeah. And I love that one of my favorite parts of it, this is what makes it science fiction in my book. The fact that he wears other people's skin and then he changes height and his teeth change too.
Not his voice, though.
Huh. Well, no, his voice, remember? Because he practiced.
Yeah, but isn't it Liam Neeson? Sounds like Liam Neeson doing voice, at least when it's Durant, no?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was surprised. Liam Neeson was a good choice, I feel like.
I agree, yeah. Here's the thing about Liam Neeson. He has AIDS. No. Fucking.
Is that why he pees his pants?
Right. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna say honestly, I love that he just pees his pants. He just because I read that he has like some kind of prostate issue,
yeah.
So he can't really. And I'm like, hell yeah, man, just pee your pants. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's weird they choose to wear light jeans all the time as well.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, let it be your thing, you know? If it happens to you, why not just roll with it?
I'm not quite ready to give him Yes, queen on that.
I mean, if Fergie can do it.
Can Fergie do it?
You know, you've seen the pictures of how she just pissed her pants on stage because she was running late to a show.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then she just peed her pants on stage.
Show must go on.
Oh, man. Very funny.
Manageable risks.
I mean, you know, kudos. It normalizes it for those people who can't.
It's not just for marathoners now.
Yeah. Pooping and peeing your pants is for everyone. That was one thing. Peeing your pants as a marathoner, that makes so much. Yeah, go for it. Don't give a shit. Shitting yourself is the one that I'm like, huh? You just do okay. That's wasn't aware of that. I was like, when people said like they pee themselves, I'm like, you know what?
I'm not sure if we have any long distance runners in our audience, but get at us.
But peeing makes sense. Like, because for me, if I was running, I would have to stop so much to pee. Yeah.
I don't know that I could keep moving and urinate. You know what I'm saying?
That's why.
I brought up on Mike?
That's why it's a marathon.
My favorite. What?
That's why. No, you haven't brought it up on Mike. I said that's why it's a marathon. You train for it. You train to be able to pee.
That's fair. Yeah, touche. A proverb I learned from my ex-mother-in-law was caminando y miando para no hacer hoyo, which means walking and pissing so you don't make a hole.
I'm pretty sure there was one time you were drunk that you were peeing and walking at the same time, and that's when you told me that saying for the first time.
But on mic is what I'm saying. Is what I asked. I don't know if I said it on mic.
No. You said you didn't know if you could run and pee at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was saying I've seen you walk and pee at the same time.
Thank you.
Which is when you first said that phrase to me. I was just stating facts. I wasn't combating anything. That was the night that you tried to piss on Chase Bank.
On Chase Bank, yeah.
And I said, don't do this. I said, hey, let's not pee on a bank.
You said, it's not a good time. And I said, then win! That was always the walk home from the endless trek from downtown Champaign, the 4 blocks to your apartment.
I lived so close.
Oh, man.
Remember when I pissed my pants fully because it was when you realized you loved me.
And by pants, you mean the floor?
Yes. Yeah. But I had not gotten my pants off, so it was all over them too.
See, I don't think I think I was on the toilet while
you were
that
on
was
the
happening,
toilet. Yeah.
So I didn't actually see all of it.
I think you saw some of it. Yeah, not all of it, but some of it for sure.
Anyway.
Because it was literally I had a bottle of wine in me.
Nice.
As well as the water I drank. And it was like if you just took a pitcher and turned it upside down. It was like when movies are like, oh no, my water broke.
It was.
That's what it looked like.
That's what it sounded like, at least.
It sounded like the water was just kept running.
And then a water bottle falls out.
Oh, man. I love that for myself.
You come for the movie reviews, but stay for the graphic description of biological functions. Not only descriptions, but live.
Come for the movie, stay for the piss play.
And
play by play.
Farting on the mic.
You're welcome.
He do be farting.
In that clip that we had of Shelley Duvall's feet in Popeye, that I said the shoes weren't that great, and everybody absolutely lost their fucking shit. We did get one comment that said, I think it was that video, might have been a different one, but at least one comment said that the 1 second of laughter before it cuts off was, they were like, I don't know what that is, but that's so, they were like, I don't know why, but that's so funny to me.
Nice.
I'm like, nice. I was like, hey.
Yeah. Thank you.
People love calling the clip where we're talking about biblical names.
Racist.
Yeah.
From Atanajawat.
Yeah, Atanajawat. They love calling it racist.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, it was cool until you started being racist.
Against
and
the
I'm
Bible.
Like, sorry that.
Native American.
Sorry that I said.
Native pride until
Yeah.
you started doing racism against Nebuchadnezzar
fake-
or whatever.
Because I said like Shem, Ham, and Jape, like
Up Indigo.
Shim, him, and Shur. We're all begat by
Pretty good until you started.
Sham, Lamb, and Dam. And
Anyway, welcome to
hey, girl, we're talking about Darkman.
unhinged
Yeah.
opinions about footwear, racism against the Bible, and weird takes on police. That's what we do here. If you're new,
Welcome.
to Fantasy Island. The plane.
Oh man, she's stupid. She's stupid.
My spot on Montalban and Villachet impersonations.
Remember when you said Vim Villachez vendors or whatever, and I was like,
Who's
she?
her?
Yeah, I was like, who's she?
Who will play her?
Fat pussy.
Who would play her, fat pussy? Who would play her, fat pussy? What the fuck? What are you even talking about, Z? That's what. Apparently, in Joe Rogan's recent stand-up, he has a bit about how when he was a kid, you could dress up your kid as Hitler, and it was fine.
Okay. Wow. I mean, you still could, and it would be fine. It's just that people would be like, why? And then you'd have to realize that you didn't have a good answer. And then you'd be like, I'm being canceled.
Well, you jumped to the end of the.
Sorry. Sorry, I said
career.
the punchline. Man. Yeah. I don't know what to say about this movie. It's so confusing. I just like.
Is it?
Well, a little bit, because nothing happened.
Nothing.
Like
happened.
something, like it's like there's corrupt business people, and because they're corrupt,
It's basically RoboCop.
you know what? You're right. And you know what? Yeah.
It's basically Batman Return.
It's
Batman Begin.
It's basically Batman Return. Batman Return, and he begin.
Begin.
Batman Begin. So fucking funny.
Batman Begin. No. Score by Elfman.
Yeah,
The
that
Elfman
was,
himself.
Because we
Apparently
both, as soon as it started, we were like, "What is this, Batman?"
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Score by Danny Elfman," and we were like, "Oh, okay, never mind."
And shockingly, everybody, many reviews called it the successor. That with Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy came out the same year, which I've never seen.
I wonder how I would feel about Dick Tracy. I
Me
feel like I
too.
saw Dick Tracy, and I feel like it was too grown up for me to watch. I remember being like,
AKA too boring.
Well, no, I remember being like worried, you know, like I'm like, am I going to get in trouble for watching this?
Oh, I see.
You know, like,
Too adult.
yeah. So I was like, I don't, and like not really getting what was going on. So I'm like,
Well, apparently this is not. Well, first of all, there's a lot of rewrites, constant rewrites. Apparently.
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because it was original. But
Yeah.
Raimi, apparently, it was somewhat his he was doing a pastiche and it's an homage to like the 1930s Universal monsters.
Yeah, which makes sense.
The Shadow apparently is one of the
Yeah, I think
main ones.
Yeah, I think I sort of conflated these two a little bit.
Well, yeah,
The
'cause
Shadow knows.
he tried to get the rights and
Oh, to the Shadow.
yeah,
Oh,
and couldn't.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, never seen it. That and the Phantom. This period of
Yeah, they were
reviving
doing
old...
a lot. They were doing a lot of work, but were relying too heavily on the nostalgia of like making it.
Yeah,
and not like they just didn't have the.
and the fucking Saint.
Oh my God!
I don't know if that was a comic. That was an old show, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but it sure was a movie.
What a movie!
What a movie!
You're
Keith,
in it.
What a movie!
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw any of those.
Nate.
I've never even
remember my
seen
dad
Roger
listening.
Rabbit.
I remember my dad listening to. He had like a cassette that he got of The Shadow.
Like
around the,
radio
Yeah.
play? Yeah, that makes sense.
The Shadow knows.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Oh, yeah, right. That's The Shadow. Right. Yeah, boomers would reference that growing up.
Yeah. I do like how it ends. I think it's a really cool ending. I didn't know it was. I was like, I wonder how much more. Like, I read in the trivia, it was like, Bruce Campbell makes an appearance in the very final scene of the film.
Yeah.
And so I was literally like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. And then it shows Bruce Campbell, and I was like, oh, the movie's over. Oh, okay.
I'm everyone and no one. Everywhere, nowhere. Call me Darkman.
And, you know, I just assumed they were going to try to wrap it up in like an annoying way or do something.
Yeah.
And that I was like, oh. So kudos to the end. I think I definitely am a fan of how they ended it. And I think that was something that was not usual in 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
A lot of times people didn't like to end things. I don't want to say abruptly because I wouldn't necessarily say it's abrupt, but it just isn't. Like, they're not doing 3 months later, because I fucking hate that shit so much.
Well, I don't know if the ending is part of that, but I also read in the trivia, so it didn't source it, but that editing was a big issue as well. The first editor quit because like had a breakdown.
Oh man.
And it's Universal, and that was one of the things. It was like one of his first major studio interactions. I don't know if that's true, but for Raimi.
Yeah.
I mean, he later did this Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, or whichever one of those.
Yeah.
However many of those. Anyway. Yeah, the studio had somebody edit it down from like close to 2 hours to 85 minutes.
Oh my God.
While Raimi was on vacation. I think they did that sort of behind his back.
Nice.
But then, like, not everybody was satisfied still, but the studio was like, it's too late. We got to just lock it in.
Yeah.
Then Raimi with like 2 other people went in and re-added stuff back.
Nice.
Secretly, and the studio execs didn't find out until
it was
the sound print had been added. So It was like 2 days before release.
Nice.
So
Good on him. That's cool.
And apparently it went to #1 for like a week.
Oh shit.
So I don't know.
That's actually surprising.
A little bit, given what it was up against.
Yeah. Right. It's yeah, things that I liked a lot of the action or like
Oh man.
was wild.
No, I was really blown away.
Yeah.
And it's very visibly like
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why in this movie in particular, but I was like really like maybe it's because I see explosions every day on my timeline now from
yeah.
genocide
Yeah.
via American munitions being dropped on a trapped population. But yeah, when the lab blows up, those explosions, I'm like, holy shit, you could see they're intense. Huge.
God, and he goes flying out of the fucking oh my god.
That's perfect.
So good. And then
I love all the montage shit of like when
he's like getting
rages or whatever.
yes, I was gonna say like that was one of my like every time he's like raging or like getting like all the fucking weird ass shit that happens is very like, and I think
it's
that's
like blood vessels and synapses and just a comet shooting through the.
It's so
Good stuff.
so wild and like the green screen of like her
was hot.
transition of like seeing the
Yeah.
explosion to like being at the funeral and how it just
brilliant.
like very seamless transition. I mean, it's obviously green screen,
Yeah.
but it's like for being 1990.
But it's not trying to hide it, right?
Right,
you know?
but for being 1990 and what they had, it's very cool.
Yeah, but that whole middle section, with the bombing of the second lab being exploded, and then the fucking helicopter shit, insane.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Just a dude hanging from a helicopter flying through LA skyscrapers. Fucking A.
And he's like, no, he's mine. Get away. He's mine.
He's waving off the police chopper.
Oh my God. Fucking hilarious.
And presumably, when he runs across the trailer of the big rig, you know?
Oh God.
And then he's like, look out, or whatever. It's presumably the people in that car are the Coens
Oh.
driving Sam Raimi's actual car. But then I saw a conflicting trivia that says that may just be a myth because it doesn't look like either of them.
I liked Ted Raimi's.
Yeah.
I like how his death, where he's just he's like puts him up through the sewer and cars just keep going by. I'm like, this is genuinely terrifying.
It went on too long for me.
That was the thing. I think that's why I liked it because I'm like, it just keeps going. I'm like, is he not going to die? And then it finally happens, and I'm like, what the fuck?
But it's
like,
off screen.
Yeah.
You just hear it.
Yeah. But all the cars whizzing by so fast. I'm like, this is genuinely scary to me. Like, I would be like, this is like a terrifying way to die. And I feel like I've never seen that as a death. Like, a lot of the ways that they were doing stuff, I'm like, this was in 1990, and I feel like no one's copied this kind of shit.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, that's kind of impressive. Like, so, yeah. Like, the general plot is just that Liam Neeson...
It's great. It's
Darkman and Mrs. Cohen are a couple, and she finds bribery at her job, and
she's an attorney working for a real estate developer or whatever. I guess.
And she's like, "Hey, I found a bribery," and they were like, "Oops, LOL." Belisarians or whatever
memorandum. I love how they keep naming it.
Mr. Strack?
I've been going over some documents, and I've come across something that puzzles me. It's a memo from your office to a Mr. Claude Belisarius. It details certain payments that...
Yes, I know the memo.
And Liam Neeson has a laboratory in his apartment building over a cafe that's probably not...
Java Cafe?
Yeah. And he puts a coffee stain on her memorandum or whatever, and they kill. He's working on skin. He's trying to. He's
inventing cyber skin,
synthetic skin, for sex purposes. I just assume,
Obviously, I don't
what
know
else would
why
there
else
be?
he
Yeah.
would be creating noses.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, what? So he just wants to put a nose on there. I want to smell it while I'm in there. You could just bleep that out. Oh, man. I'm funny. And then they come, the real estate guys, henchmen come and do
Well,
an
first we
explosion.
got that opening sequence with.
Yeah.
What is that about? How does that relate?
I think it's just showing that they're bad guys. I think it's just introducing the bad guys. And his cigar
Yeah.
and what he does and his
Yeah.
whole
Apparently,
thing.
I didn't catch this. Apparently, when you see Durant at home, he's got a case with like military memorabilia or like medals or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's meant to imply that he picked up his
Right.
finger trophy habit from military service.
Nice.
And also why he has a fucking grenade launcher.
That, yeah.
I don't, or is proficient at using it. He didn't seem like he was very good at it to me.
That's
he
fair.
kept missing.
That's fair. So after, and he does an explosion and blows Darkman into the water. Not out of the water, into the water.
Yeah, right. They shake him down thinking he knows where the memorandum is.
But they get it. They get it.
They do, but point is he
Yeah.
doesn't know.
He doesn't know anything.
She knows.
She just
she told
left
him about
there.
it, but
yeah, she just left it at his place, and they go and anyway. So she thinks he's dead. He ends up in a burn unit, and they declare that they severed all the I don't know. They did a procedure that keeps him from feeling anything, so that he can heal from his burns.
10 years ago, pain from the burns would have been intolerable. This man would have spent the rest of his life screaming. Now, we use the Rank-of-Eretz technique. Quite simply, we sever the nerves within the spinothalamic tract, there, which, as you know, transmits neural impulses of pain and vibratory sense to the brain.
So he doesn't have any physical. I don't think they thought that through
No.
because they're like, he can't feel anything. And I'm like, it's interesting because it doesn't seem to be the case that he can't feel anything. They're just implying he can't feel any pain.
right.
And I'm like, that's
Different.
than not being able to
Correct.
feel anything.
Also,
But
it
they
only comes
say-
up. It
yeah.
only seems to be he can't feel fire on his left hand.
But they took my hand.
They took my hands. They took my hands.
Yeah, what?
But they said that because he can't feel anything, he's constantly craving stimulus,
Yeah.
and so he
The
has
brain
like,
because of
right.
its. that was-
because it doesn't have any sensory input. It's constantly like it's overwhelmed and constantly needing some sort of input. So it puts them into an emotional overdrive. So they have it allows for them to have like super strength because their adrenaline goes so fucking far off the map when they get agitated or something. I don't fucking know. It's science.
The burn doctor, by the way, is she was in Logan's Run.
Cool.
Fuck you too. Jesus.
I've never seen Logan's Run.
I don't care.
I know you don't care. That's why I said cool, because I knew that it wouldn't affect you either way. Cool.
Okay, I don't know why I thought you'd be interested in that.
So then he decides that he's going to do a revenge on everybody
that trashed his lab.
Yeah.
Because he lost all his work. He had just made a breakthrough. Then they blew everything up.
Yeah.
Including his partner.
Oh, his
lab partner.
His lab partner, yeah. And he goes to the place where there was a giant, huge explosion, and just gets a bunch of his computers, like his old burned up monitor and shit, and he just takes them to an abandoned warehouse that's condemned, and he just rebuilds his lab. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense.
I love it.
And then, but the breakthrough that they came to was that the skin, like, basically only survives in the dark, which you think would come up more than it does.
Right.
Or because he's Darkman.
Right.
And you think that he only exists in the dark. But the reality of it is that it doesn't ever impact anything that he does. Because he can
only be in the daylight for 99 seconds.
Correct. But it doesn't make any sense as to how he's able to, okay.
Call me Darkman. One time. I was in the dark.
I know that I've told this before, but I don't care. Keith has never seen Taken. And so if the movie Taken was ever mentioned, Keith would say, one time I was taken, and he would just say that. And I was like, I don't remember exactly how it went, but I was like, it's so funny that you act like it's a movie about him being kidnapped. And
well,
Keith
it's also
like,
that I knew that
it wasn't. I was like,
I knew the title, and I knew that there was, like the pivotal scene is him being on the phone doing that voice. That's all I had.
He's like,
So
I thought he's like,
I have certain skills or whatever. It was just him on the phone telling his therapist or something.
Hey, one time I was taken. And so Keith was like, thought for like the longest time that at least, I mean, I'm sure the movie was out for longer than this, but at the very least, the first couple years we were in a relationship, Keith was under the impression that the movie was about Liam Neeson being taken one time. Fucking, when I found that out, that it was the funniest thing in the entire world to me. I was like, what? One time I was taken.
Too bad it ruined the joke.
Too bad it ruined the joke.
Yeah.
No. One time I was taken.
Well, you broke my illusion, so I can't do it with the same commitment.
So, yeah. So it ends up with Liam Neeson.
He kills all the guys.
Yeah, he kills everybody,
except Durant. Does he kill Durant?
So the helicopter blows up, and then he comes back as Durant. So you think Durant survived because he's like, he blew up a helicopter.
Somehow Durant survived.
Yeah.
Somehow Durant returns. Came back. Somehow he gets him arrested too. Oh, he holds up a convenience store or whatever.
Yeah.
As him, and he's just two cameras like, my name's Robert H. Durant III.
Yeah.
555.
Yeah.
23 6122.
Is that his social?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I'll just shut him then.
Keith also does this thing. He loves when I say what he does.
Feel so exposed.
I'm sorry. It's just so funny. When if I'm saying something funny, or if he's I'll say this. If he's saying something that he knows is funny to me, he will close his eyes when he says it to me, but he acts like he has it closed. Like I don't see his eyes are closed.
Because I'm not aware of it.
He just looks at me, and he'll like be making expressions as if his eyes aren't almost all the way closed, if not all the way closed. And he'll be clearly trying not to laugh while he says it. And it makes everything better.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I like you. Isn't that?
Sorry for lashing out.
Keith doesn't like when I say nice things about him because it makes him realize that I enjoy
I'm
him.
in a homosexual relationship with a gay wad.
Yeah. Sure. I don't know what to say about this. Frances McDormand, Dylan McDermott's friend, Frances McDormand. She's good. I think she does good. I think she's a good.
Well, I like that. Well, this may be my projecting because
Yeah.
I guess have more respect for her than
You'd like to admit.
other actors. I don't know. But she definitely brings more to the role than just the main guy's girlfriend.
Yeah. Well,
And I know that's not just her, right?
this
That's
is gonna
obviously
this is gonna
part of the writing.
Yeah, this is gonna sound shitty, or like this is
It's
gonna.
also that they didn't cast some
Yeah.
very
Right. She's not
cookie
like
cutter.
exactly. She's not. I don't want to say she's not. I'm not saying she's not attractive, but she's not conventionally attractive.
right.
And I always love when that kind of casting is done.
Yeah.
Because it makes you. I just feel like a lot of times casting of a female character
Yep.
is done on like looks as opposed to talent, especially in roles like this. But
Yeah.
also I like Frances McDormand, and I don't know
Dormand.
McDormand. Okay. I like her performance. I like how I like her as an actor. And so seeing her in something that's like kind of a campy horror movie is like
Right.
more exciting because you don't associate her with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so like that it like you said, like it added more to it
Yeah.
by casting someone who actually who is going by like you're going by someone's ability to perform as opposed to whether or not someone has like big tits or I don't know, like,
Yeah.
and there's not really any nudity or anything, which is also an interesting thing, especially like, a rated R horror movie, horror thriller,
Right.
know.
Yeah, it's not very purulent in that way. It's not titillating.
Yeah.
It doesn't do those things. Apparently, there was a scene where the developer guy rolls around naked he covers his bed with gold coins. But test audiences didn't like it.
Oh man.
This is according to Bruce Campbell's memoir called If Chins Could Kill.
Amazing. But yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, and I feel like everybody's performance was like not what you'd expect. And yeah, like it's very interesting to see Liam Neeson do a role like this.
Mm-hmm.
And like he definitely, I mean, obviously Liam Neeson has chops, like we know that, but I think
It's hard to see.
yeah,
It's hard to accept.
right? Because
don't know
he
why.
has done so many like sort of, he's done stuff like Taken, and he's done, he was like Ra's al Ghul or whatever in Batman.
Oh, that's right.
And I mean, like saying he's done more big budget stuff, so you don't
Yeah.
really associate him. It's sort of the same with like Frances McDormand. Like you don't really associate them with more campy, I don't want to say low budget because that's not really. But there's something.
Well, I mean, they're coming from indie
Yeah, right,
productions.
right. And you don't really associate them with that. I mean, like probably Frances McDormand because of the Coens a little bit more. You would associate her with more indie things, but not campy horror-esque sci-fi, like weird, Darkman. Like, it's not. It's crazy. Like this is like, especially
apparently many heated discussions between her and Raimi about what direction to take the movie.
Nice. But see, like, I like that. I like that, like she feels.
And I guess the Coens helped edit and did other things uncredited.
Yeah.
And I guess they're all friends, which makes sense.
Yeah. But I like that because I feel like, I mean, think about, like, Barton Fink was what, 91?
Yes.
And that's crazy. It's like a year apart.
Right.
These movies, and they're the tone. I mean, I know they weren't written by the same people, and they weren't. I just mean, like, in general, in how you look at films from the 90s, the fact that a movie like this could look so different.
Oh, yeah.
From that, in so many different ways. It's, like, very fascinating. That's one of the things about, I think, 90s, 80s and 90s cinema that's really interesting, is that, like, a movie can have a completely different look just because it's a different genre. Like, everything about it is. And obviously you have, like, style choices and things like that from directors and cinematographers. I get that, but I feel like nowadays there's because of digital, because of the way things are done, there's a lot more that's just standard in how things are produced that you didn't really get as much. I mean, it started in the 90s, obviously. I think it was starting to go that way because of, like, big budget things, like, or more mainstream sort of productions. But the fact that, like, an indie movie like Barton Fink and and something like this would have such a different look and feel.
Yeah, but they both have something that I think I touched on that I thought this movie had in the lobby, where it rides that line of, like, it's sincere homage,
Yes.
but there's also a tongue-in-cheek kind of campiness to it.
Yes.
That is very 90s to
Yeah.
my senses.
Yeah.
Like, that's if I could assign one aesthetic to the 90s, it's that sort of push-pull of, like,
Yeah.
we're sort of critiquing the thing, but there's a genuine appreciation for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of, everything's kind of got its tongue in its cheek, but it's not.
Yeah. We're not saying the whole thing is a joke.
Right. We're taking the thing seriously enough.
Yeah.
To make a serious product. You know what I mean? Like, so, and that's a very hard line. I don't, like, when people pull it off, to me, it's
right.
one of my favorite things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it makes sense that, like, maybe that's something they shared back and forth, Raimi and the Raimis and the Coens.
Yeah.
And the
For
McDormands.
sure. Yeah.
Because Ivan Raimi has a writing credit on this too.
Nice.
As well as Sam.
Yeah. Nice.
And we got Ted.
Yeah.
Poking his head out of a manhole.
So would you recommend this movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It held up better than I thought.
Yeah.
But it held up. It was. It hit all the notes I was hoping for and more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not perfect, but
the fucking leg at the beginning. Oh my God.
Yeah, I will say the black characters, the few that there are, especially that first guy.
Yeah.
Like, he feels like he could be a character out of anime, which is
right.
The way
yeah.
Japanese culture treats black folks is something.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's whole doctoral theses on it, but has that kind of feel, that first guy, especially.
I got 3 things to say to you, Durant. 1, I ain't selling my property. 2, nobody muscles Eddie Black, especially a bunch of dinks. And 3, if if y'all don't like that, which I can already see you don't, we can cut your balls off. Maybe that'd be more satisfactory to you.
And I feel like this is the thing. It's trying to do this sort of 2D comic booky style.
Yes.
Everything is a caricature of
Right,
real life.
right. Yeah.
So I get it, but when it comes to race relations, like when they go to Chinatown, you know,
Right,
like
right,
and
for sure.
Hung
for sure.
Fat is the guy they talk to, and he's like,
yeah,
you know, doing that flowery language that is associated with Chinese culture,
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
most honorable, most exalted.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. It doesn't do great in. It doesn't do great with how it treats characters of color, and more than anything, I think what I didn't like about the first bad guy is that he's presented as like a really cool. I was like, oh shit, this guy's awesome.
He's a badass, yeah.
Yeah, and he's immediately, there's the main villain sort of henchman is up against him in the beginning. And I assumed that there would be more.
Oh, they want his
rivalry.
property to develop the guy's city.
Yeah.
Duh. That's what it is. Okay.
But the way it ends with him just taking all the guy's fingers, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And
Yeah.
then never see him again. And then they're not really a character. I'm like, yeah, I think if it had ended differently, or if that guy had come back and there was anything more, I think I would have felt differently. But it felt like you have a throwaway character and it's a black dude who's getting hurt. And I'm like, ugh.
Well, seemingly it's there so you hate Durant.
Right. Correct. Right. So like
but I feel like the tone of it doesn't quite hit that.
You don't have enough backstory to be able to villainize one of them. I think it's just showing you that one guy is worse than the other guy. Like you're assuming this is the bad guy, and then an even badder guy comes along, and I get that, and I think that that's a very cool idea. But yeah, it doesn't. All of the people that you overthrow don't need to be people of color. Like you don't need to prove that you're worse than people of color. Like that's that's a little strange.
Yeah.
First, we already know that. Second of all, what are we doing? I feel like that's not quite saying, and I think that's probably my biggest critique out of movies from the 80s and 90s is that there's so few actual characters that are not white.
Yep.
And it really, I think it's one of the reasons why Candyman sticks out so much, because that doesn't just have characters within it that are black who have a story and are telling a story, but it also has white characters who are like, oh, this is a thing that happens with, in black neighborhoods. Like, this is a thing. They're and they're
Did
learning.
we do Candyman for I know we did an unmentionable on the new one.
I don't think we've done Candyman, no. God, I love that.
don't
It's
think
one of my favorite, but that's what I mean. Like, but it was a 90s horror movie that's like having serious discussions about gentrification. And I will listen to any critique that black folks have on it. And I'm happy. But I think for the time, unheard of. Absolutely unheard of.
Well, and especially because it has that dynamic it uses the dynamic of a white
woman.
Coming into.
Yeah.
And I don't remember her role. Like, is she a reporter? Or what is she like?
She is doing a thesis or something on.
Yeah,
I
but
can't
it's
remember.
definitely she's an outsider.
Yes.
Doing So.
Yeah, and I mean things like Night of the Demons. It's a movie that the final two are a woman and a black man, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And the fact, what is upsetting about those things is that was unusual. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest thing for me with going back and watching these. Is I'm
Yeah.
like, why
Well,
is
and
there
it's a
such
thing that especially that Romero specifically did with Night of the Living Dead. Is
Right.
He had
Yeah.
the main survivor is
Yeah.
the black guy.
Yeah. And like it's a very cool like role too, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and I think, I think there's a lot of things that can be said about like, fetishization versus like having an actual character and like over sexualizing all of those things. But like it was so rare to have any kind of characters of color. Like it's one of the reasons like we've done like a single year of like Native November.
Yeah.
Because there are so few movies that are actually, because there's lots of movies that are like about Indians, but there's not a lot of films from, like with actual indigenous people in them who are actually that.
Right.
And one
Native
of the things
produced.
I personally have recommended is that we not focus on trauma. Like only films around trauma, and so
which makes
basically
it even
what
a smaller pool.
What we did was what we have, like that, and we didn't just stick to movies that were happy, like, and we weren't even able to find, I mean, I believe we'll do it again some year, but there's very few things out there to and
all the memes, all the native memes.
Yeah.
Are all smoke signals or powwow highway. So
yeah.
I mean, now there's things from reservation dogs.
Right.
And
Yeah, but like if you're looking at like things from so I fucking smoke signals.
Yeah.
Hey Victor. Anyway, so I think that's probably my biggest critique of the movie is that it could for what it's doing, it really didn't have to be weird in that way,
Agree. Right.
And there's a lot of like,
I guess they actually did shoot in Chinatown for what that's worth.
I believe that. I believe it definitely looks
the
like
fucking
it.
dragon and then the funeral procession.
Like, there's stuff like that where I'm like, I like genuinely when we were watching it, I was like, what was it like to be in the theater for a movie like this?
I know, right?
I'm like, there's so many things happening at once. I'm like, how many watches did people go through before they saw a lot of this stuff? I was just like, what the fuck? This movie's so weird. But I think I definitely would recommend it. I think it's weird and not in an insulting way. It's weird. It's very visually unique in what it.
Well, you can see some of his trademarks too. Like,
for sure.
I don't know how it's done, but that it feels like animation.
Yeah,
like stuff zooming towards the camera, but it looks like stop motion almost.
I love the scene with the
Dead,
hand and with the one of them absolutely looked like stop motion and the other one didn't, and I was like, this is so fascinating. This is so fascinating. So shit like that is like very, very interesting.
And what he did, there's like a POV of, there's some crazy POV stuff. Like at some point, the artificial leg gun, and I feel like there was another one, like some projectile POV.
Oh yeah, I don't. Oh yeah, when he's shooting the bolts.
Oh yeah, the riveter.
Yeah,
that was so good.
Yeah.
Apparently, that dude actually fell off a beam and broke his leg.
Oh my god! Which guy?
The
boss?
Scottish guy. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Friels or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my god, terrifying. Yeah, I feel like that was a pretty good ending in how like suspenseful it was, because I feel like genuinely terrified of that kind of like, being on a beam, and I even liked when it was over in their elevator ride down. I was like, this is such a cool down moment that's like very I was like, this is really
good point.
So it had a lot of things in it that I feel like you don't see, especially in like schlocky, campy horror.
Or even in superhero.
Yeah. Or like romance stuff.
Right.
Like there were so many things that it hit a story in places that you wouldn't necessarily expect it to.
Yeah, I'm like I didn't really care about. I'm glad I didn't spend more time on him trying to have a relationship with her.
Yeah.
Where he's just with her for 99 seconds at a time or whatever it is, minutes.
Well, I also liked how she found out that it
Yeah.
wasn't. I loved that.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm like, good. Yeah. You know,
Yes.
like, I
Yes.
don't want this to
Yes.
be continuing, you know.
Right. And that it isn't like, I mean, it would have been fine, but I'm glad she's like, you didn't have to lie.
Yeah.
And she doesn't just like say that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
But she also,
But then
like,
I love that they don't, at the very end, he's like, I'm a monster and I can live with it, but I don't know if anybody else can or whatever.
Yeah.
The line is.
well, I like that he is
You're the
like,
hero I just the city deserves, but not that it needs.
but he, when he's basically like, she's like, we can, you can perfect your skin and then we can,
Right.
and he's like, no, that's not really, he's like, I'm not the same person that I was
Right.
before.
Right.
I've changed.
Right.
And he's like, do you really think you could be with me? And she doesn't really respond.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then, he is Bruce Campbell. And I was like, shit.
I also like, I mean, this rarely works for me, but I do like that he's like when, the back and forth
Yeah.
on the
High
I-beams
beam.
or whatever. Yeah. And the guy's like, but I'm creating things.
Yeah.
You're just destructive and getting revenge. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that was the point in particular that I'm like, well, he has a point there.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I don't think, building a giant development
Right.
in the city is really that productive.
Right.
I mean, it's basically a job creator argument,
Right.
but
Yeah.
never mind. He had to
Right.
murder a
A
guy
bunch of people. Yeah.
to get the land or whatever. Just him and the Indians up on the...
Come on. Yeah. I was like,
Shout out to the natives who work the skyscrapers.
Yeah. Shout out. Will you make French fries?
We'll discuss it off mic.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone.
To Vatersjaren!